All right. Hello there, Internet. Jason Wilmot here. Hey, what I wanted to do today is jump on a quick live session and do a couple things. First of all, though, I want to make sure that this is working. Last time that I hopped on, I spoke for about, I don't know, 10 minutes before I realized that this wasn't pushing live. So hopefully this is working. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and start. So what I want to lead off with today was a story. And what I kind of want to talk about is this retargeting, where I got started with this. So on your screen, you're going to see something called Retargeting IQ. It's a paid mini workshop where I've just released this into the internet. I've had actually really good success with people signing up. There's been a handful of folks who've already signed up already, started running ads to this last week. So there we go. Hey, visitors. See you live now. So, hey, I'm going to be talking about retargeting in this. So if you've got a question, I would love to answer any questions. So let me get right into this, though. I want to start off with a story. And I kind of want to talk about where I first came across this idea of retargeting. So you may or may not know this, but I was an educator for about 8 years and quit my job about 5.5 years ago. And I jumped into this digital marketing world. Now, I could not say that things went well off the bat. Kind of struggled in really finding the kind of how I fit the market. I've always been good at this internet thing, always been good at like systems and internet systems and tying things together. But I was doing anything and everything for local businesses. So well-versed in SEO, web design, social media management, all of those things. But they really didn't move the needle as much as I wanted for folks. And I remember my friend at the time said, dude, you should really look into retargeting. I'm reading that that's where all, of this money is at. And at the time, I really didn't have the opportunity to push into retargeting too much. Hey, guys, I see that there's way more people now. Hello, I hope you are well. We're talking about retargeting today, talking about retargeting IQ. And if you have any questions about it, go ahead and drop them now. But kind of reflecting back on when I first came around to this. So kind of move forward since my friend said, hey, you should look into retargeting, almost until about a year where I finally got the opportunity to start diving into this. And it was an e-com store. So I randomly connected with this person. Like, this is as random as it gets. We struck up a conversation. He asked me, hey, Jason, what do you do? And I said, well, I do a little bit of Google ads. I do Facebook ads. And at this time I was relatively new. I probably only had about a year under my belt. But it was a good year. I had learned from from consulting with this Japanese app or this Japanese startup. And I said to this individual, like, yeah, well, okay, I kind of know Google ads. He's like, you know Google ads? Okay, I need somebody to do Google ads. What I didn't know at the time was this was going to be my first 7-figure funnel that I built for somebody. And so I started working. I took courses. Of course, I hopped into YouTube and I really started focusing on Google ads because, that's where the inbound intent was. And this was an e-commerce store. And I'm going to kind of move away from e-commerce into typical lead gen. So if you've got a business right now, if you have a funnel, if it's a demand funnel, if you want to know how retargeting works, then I'm going to be speaking to you. But I really started understanding how this retargeting worked with e-com, because in e-com, it's just really simple. Like, people are there to buy. And if they don't buy, then you can put ads in front of them to come back and buy. But you have to get good traffic into your funnel, right? And so I have this piece of information in my brain saying, hey, Jason, you need to dive into retargeting. It's the best money out there. So, but at the time I was just starting with Google ads on sending people in with search, and it was working and it was really good. Because this business that I was working with had got, they'd grown their business using a like and share campaign. And it worked absolutely well. They really, really grew their business until Facebook was just like, hey, you're not going to be doing that anymore. You have to start paying us money if you're a business. So they switched the algorithm. This company just kind of started nosediving to the ground. They were looking for somebody to help them with ads. And that's where I fortunately struck up this conversation with this guy. And he said, hey, yeah, come on. So we started working together and I started running their Google ads. But it was at this point, I'd never really had the opportunity to start running retargeting ads. And so I bought a course on how to do this for Facebook ads. And I learned about this thing called dynamic placement ads. And this literally changed the game for me as far as retargeting. It's because this business didn't have retargeting set up. So we were spending, I mean, it was a good amount. I want to say $4,000 to $5,000 a month on Google search ads, inbound ads. It was working well. So why stop? But we sent in that traffic, and then, if they left, they just like went right out the door, and we didn't have a way of staying in front of them, and knowing what I know now, I would have set up more pieces, but this is where I finally stepped into retargeting. And, I mean, I kid you not, it worked within a week. We set up retargeting ads, dynamic placement ads. So people who put something in their cart, somebody who viewed content, who added their payment info, whatever it was, but they didn't buy, because you have to kind of think through the logic in all of this. Then we put our ad in front of them, and they came back and they bought. Like, in this, literally, I shouldn't say literally because we overuse that word, but it literally did turn around their business. If you look at the analytics, they were crashing into the ground. There's this brief moment where it just kind of kind of flattened out for a minute, and then it started going back up. And that was like a major one. It was feedback to me that's saying, hey, these systems actually work. And the way that I kind of cut my teeth on this was through e-com, like I said, but like, it's all logic. And that's the most important thing. And so if you've got a question about like the logic that I use or something like that, go ahead and throw it in the comments below. Happy to address them. I know more people watch this recorded, so I will address your comments as well if you add them after this is done. But so the logic involved in retargeting is just simply thinking like from the bottom of the funnel. And that's where everybody needs to start your thinking. So if you have a funnel, if you have a website, you always have to start at the bottom of the funnel. And typically at the bottom of the funnel, there's money, there's sales. Like, that's why you have a funnel. You're trying e-com marketers. I want to talk about just kind of how to think about this. So again, if you have any questions, happy to do this. So I'll kind of finish my story though, where so I was learning how to do this retargeting when it came to e-commerce. But then I had this other opportunity who's in the service-based business, and he had a good functioning funnel. This is the individual, Matt, where we went from $14 million to $24 million in 1 year. And this is like where it really started to click for me, because Matt had hired somebody to send in Google search ads. And that was the only thing that they were running at the time. And then I had the opportunity to come in and start working with Matt. And I kind of took over the Google search ads, but I realized, well, I didn't realize after I took it over. I realized kind of when I was talking to him, like, hey, we're sending in a lot of traffic to your website, but we're not staying in front of these people. And Matt had a long sales cycle. So like a months-long sales cycle. So retargeting and keeping these buyers, keeping Matt's brand top of mind to these buyers was very, very important. And so when we started implementing retargeting, this is when the thing started to really, really grow. And not only did it grow, like we started to see better conversion, or sorry, the conversions is just like marketing lingo. We had better leads. They were more qualified leads because we were retargeting the people who actually were interested. We weren't just retargeting anybody and everybody. So the cost of acquisition actually went down. His lead quality went up, and he had 33% more leads based upon his budget from the from the year prior, I should say. So once, so that was my first 8-figure funnel. So I went from like a 7-figure funnel with this client to building an 8-figure funnel with this client. And then this is just like started working. And I started looking around and be like, hey, there's not a lot of people who know how to put this whole thing together. Now, what I should say is retargeting is not the end all be all. You have to be sending in good traffic. And I'm going to speak to that when it comes to this iOS 14 thing. But you have to remember with retargeting, it's a machine and it's logic. So if you are spending your time, your money, your energy, getting people to your website or getting people to your funnel, that's where you need to let internet marketing take over for you. I think the thing to keep in mind here is we all know that that internet marketing can work. We see brands do it very well. And what I'm here to, help my partners and help my students understand is like, you don't have to be some 8, 9 figure business in order to leverage internet marketing well. That's not the case. This can work for you. This works for me. This can work for any size funnel. So again, what I'm going to focus on is retargeting in this, but if you have any questions, then we're going to address those as well. So I started with retargeting and kind of the story of how I got started. It was an e-com, and I kind of learned the logic behind that of thinking, okay, who are we actually putting ads back in front of. It's the people who display intent, but they don't buy. And the same thing is in a lead funnel. So if somebody comes to your website and you have a funnel and you have this offer at the end of the funnel and they show intent, but they don't buy it, or they don't call you, or they don't book a demo, or they don't download something, or they don't request a call or request a quote, that's kind of the service-based side. Then that's where retargeting works on your behalf. And not only that, it shows you that you are an expert to these people. So I think one more thing to think about is like, people are checking out your competitors. I've got competitors. When you leverage retargeting, what you're doing is you're leveraging a machine to stay in front of your hottest prospects. So you can spend more time getting people into your funnel. And that's the really beautiful part about this. So, okay, so we're going to move away from where I got started with retargeting to this. And I think this is probably the most important part. So what I don't want you to hear from me is retargeting is the end all be all, because it's definitely not. Retargeting, though, is the easiest money in the game if you look at all the analytics. So I will say this. To date, I've helped businesses revenue over $50 million, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on ad spend. And when you look at the numbers, when you look at the analytics, retargeting is always the best. But here's a reason for that. You have to get people into your funnel. You still have to get people into your funnel. And I think this is a part where it's very important, considering like this iOS 14 update that marketers are losing their minds on. It's like, well, what if we can't traffic, or what if we can't retarget? And there is a good part to retargeting that you might not be able to retarget, or 50% of your audience might drop off. It just depends on where you're actually grabbing those people. But here's what won't stop. Inbound ads, precise, quality, good retargeting ads will work. Sorry, let me back up. Retargeting ads are still going to work for like 50% of your traffic. But let's say that actually goes away for the other 50%. You still need to send in high qualified traffic. So you can still do that on Facebook, still do that on Instagram or Google search or YouTube, all the things that I preach in Funnel Accelerator. But you have to couple it with these link tracking systems. And that's where I'm not too worried about like this iOS 14 thing. So if you're sending in top of funnel traffic and you're using UTM tracking and you're using Google Analytics goals, you are going to be, you will have clicked in retargeting IQ. By the way, if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. I just started ads for it a couple days ago. I've had, I think, 6 people hop in on it, so I feel really good about that. But I covered this UTM link tracking. So if you're sending in top of funnel traffic and you're worried that you're not going to be able to retarget them, we'll send the traffic in with link tracking so that you know what ads are actually going to work. So, and I've included how to set up your link tracking. I've included how to set up goals and all of that retargeting IQ, just because it was like, that's the foundation of this. Like at the beginning of the stream, I talked about how you need to think from the bottom of the funnel up. And so that's where I start my thinking when it comes to retargeting IQ. And when I want to go like help people understand this, rather than like diving right into retargeting, you can't. You have to think through your funnel first. And that's kind of what I'd lay out in the first few modules of just how to think about this, because that's the most important part. Because, I'll pause. The most important part is thinking about this, because it's a pay to play game. You will literally lose your money if you don't do this the right way, right? Because paid ads are there to take your money. Google's not going to say, hey, looks like you set up that campaign wrong. Here, have some money back. That's not the way that it works. Same with Facebook. So after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars online, I've had the privilege to at least think about this kind of in a way where I can understand where to put my money first, and the systems to build and all of that, and the tracking and all of the components that you need to know before you start spending money online. And again, you should always set up your tracking prior to running any funnels. You should always set up your retargeting prior to running any inbound traffic. The reason is this. If you send your traffic into a well-optimized system, then that's where the fun begins, because then you can go out and your mindset can just focus on how do I get more people into my funnel, because you know that it's trackable, that you have a system that is going to work on your behalf, is going to retarget people. So on the screen, what you see is this $27 mini workshop called Retargeting IQ. I help you understand how to map your funnel. We start off just thinking about this, and thinking about it is the most important thing, like I just said. And then I show you how to literally set up your Google Analytics, your Facebook Business Manager. You get your pixel on there, you deploy it through Google Tag Manager, kind of all the ways that you should definitely focus. And then I teach you how to then set up your retargeting system. So if you're pushing people in organically, that's great. If you're pushing people in with paid ads, if you've got partners, if you've got newsletters, if you've got blogs, whatever it's going to be, if you send people in, then it can be tracked, right? And if they don't buy, if they don't opt in, if they don't download, whatever your call to action is, you are going to stay in front of them. And then that's where the retargeting really kicks in. So once that system is built, then that's when you can scale up your inbound, running like inbound Facebook ads, Instagram ads, doing YouTube ads, doing Google search, doing live streams like this. So if you click on my link and you visit my website, you are going to be remarketed, and I'm going to hit you on native ads. So those are on websites like CNN, display ads. That's basically everywhere that that's basically every website that allows Google to advertise on its behalf. You'll see me on YouTube. You'll see me on Facebook. You'll see me on Instagram. You'll see me on Twitter. Like there's a lot of spots that you can leverage retargeting. The most important thing is just like, hey, where are my people actually hanging out? Because you can't overspend on retargeting. But here's the danger of retargeting. If you send in junk traffic, you're just going to be retargeting junk traffic. I kid you not. Like I know how to do YouTube ads. I set up my YouTube ads for this retargeting campaign, and I did not do the settings right. And so I'm looking at the analytics. This was on Saturday. I woke up and I was like, I told my wife, I was like, babe, we've got a lot of clicks. Like this is looking really good. And then like you start to understand like this is too good. This is too good to be true. And so what I was looking at is when I went in to set up my YouTube campaign, I actually had the settings wrong. So it was going to quick aside on Google. If there's ever a chance where you see Google recommends, I would highly avoid that. So when you set up a new campaign on Google, for YouTube, it basically have three options: the YouTube search results, YouTube videos, and Google display partners, which is anybody and everybody. So so basically, what I was doing is I was getting tons of clicks from Candy Crunch, which is not what I want. Those aren't even YouTube views. So a lot of these people are going to see my retargeting ads. And that is so important about setting your retargeting up, because I'm going to be advertising to junk leads here until I kind of kick them out of my system, which I can do. Which is funny. So I have about 5 minutes left on this stream. So if you have questions, drop them now. I do have a call that I have to get to. But one thing that I did kind of want to address was this last thing. This was iOS 14 updates. So I think there's a lot of FUD when it comes around this. So fear and utter dismay. I don't think we know what's going to happen. I think what is important is like if you have a lead funnel, I think you're going to be more okay than like an e-com funnel. If you have a funnel where you have an app at the bottom of the funnel and you have something called Facebook SDK installed, I think those are the people who are going to start to take a hit from this. But we don't know. And what we don't know also is there's ways to do user tracking without cookies, and Google is actually pushing into that right now. I think that's what we're going to see a lot more of. And so Facebook kind of takes that. Here's the deal. People like the internet and they want the internet to be friendly. Cookies actually are good things. The people behind those cookies, that is where things start to get gray, right? It has nothing to do with cookies. Cookies are not good. Cookies are not bad. Cookies are programmed software. They're little robots to help you along your way. So if you visit a website and you don't remember your password or whatever it is, like that can be cached into everything to just help you along your way. So I think what we're going to see moving forward is, friendlier, more anonymous, perhaps encrypted cookie-based sort of pieces that are going to continue to allow us to have a good internet experience. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like having to say accept cookies like every single time that I go to a website. We could probably think of a better way than doing that, than writing just some GDPR rule behind all of that. But again, I don't think the cookies is the bad thing. It's the people harvesting the data, reselling it, all of that. That's like a different, whole different commentary. So what I think, though, is the answer to iOS 14 updates is this. It's inbound ads. You have to be able to send in good inbound ads, and you have to be able to connect those clicks all the way to your conversions or your customers or whatever. And that's done through UTM tracking. That does not rely upon cookies. And again, I show you how to do that in Retargeting IQ. I put in this bonus module called UTM tracking, and I have a UTM generator. That's what I've used for years. But it allows you to send in extra data. So if somebody buys from a specific ad, maybe it's on Twitter, maybe it's on YouTube, maybe it's on Google, maybe it's organic, you can actually follow that all the way down to the conversion. So I think that's really cool. So I think the focus is you have to still focus on top of funnel traffic. You still have to connect your clicks, but retargeting, it becomes all the more important because if 50% of iOS users, opt into this, and we don't know if they'll opt in or not. I think it kind of like we'll just find out. We'll see what happens, and I think the market will adapt, and I think Facebook will adapt because Facebook I'm actually certain of this. Facebook does care about the end user, right? I say that with an asterisk because I know that they care about our data more than anything. But I also think that Facebook literally cares about this because their platform wants to give somebody what they want. It's just like Google search. When you search for something, Google wants to give you what you want because it wants to provide you with a good experience. And that's the same thing with Facebook. So we'll see how they adjust with this. And if they don't, this is what happens in the market. If you don't adjust, then you die. Like that's what happens. That's what happens in the market. Like if Retargeting IQ or Funnel Accelerator, the two coaching programs that I have, sorry, I lost my train of thought because I'm reading these comments. Yeah, if they don't adapt, then they're just going to bounce. The market's not going to stick around. That's the beauty of the market. That's the beauty of the market every single time. If I create a product that is awesome now, but it's not relevant 2 weeks from now, then it's just not going to work. And I'm going to have some issues after that. So I've got like a couple minutes left. Let me get to these comments. So John, feels like the train started with GDPR. Let's talk about privacy not going away. Likely there will be future changes to the iOS change in the future. What can a small business do to get ahead of this trend? More content, SMS marketing. What can I do now that will pay off down the road to overcome these changes? So lots to unpack here. And I might have to create maybe I just need to go live again tomorrow, kind of on iOS 14. I'm not the pro on this. I don't know all the answers to it. I think what we will know is more once it's actually here. But I think what small businesses can do is you can, one, you should take my retargeting. No, I'm just joking. You should definitely set up retargeting on Google because Google is going to find a way to get around this. Like I already said, I've already got emails from Google saying, hey, we're experimenting with cookieless tracking, so to speak. And don't be afraid by the word tracking. It's just like, how do we help the people on the internet? How do we let software aid the users on the internet? And we don't necessarily need cookies to do that. I think Facebook is going to find something. But I do think that just learning link tracking, so sending in UTMs, like learning how to not rely on cookies, learning how to not rely on even Facebook or Instagram. Like there's ways to really understand what is converting in your funnel and what is not. That's done in Google Analytics. That's done in setting up your goals. That is module 2 in Retargeting IQ. And then it's sending in traffic via the top of funnel traffic. So let me come back to that. John, I think that's actually a really good live that I need to get, do later on. Let me follow up with that. Let me address this one other comment though, and then I will hop off. I got to get to a call here. So this is from a Facebook user. I don't know who this is. Regarding iOS 14, do you show how I can use my email list to retarget? I collect emails to the step before credit card payment. If the card payment doesn't go through, I follow them up with an email sequence. Can I follow them up via retargeting? Yes. Most people come to my site via organic traffic since I am SEO. So I'm not yet getting too many people to my ads via top of funnel. Yes. So it depends on, this is a really good question. Really simple answer. So the easiest answer is yes. You can upload a CSV file to Facebook. This is not going away with iOS. So if somebody provides you with their email, then you can continue to remarket to them on Facebook. The way that you would do this is you would upload a CSV file. A better way to do this would be whether you're using MailChimp or not for your emails. If you're just using, you can use MailChimp basically for a real-time audience base. So if somebody comes into your funnel and you have MailChimp MailChimp as your, like the email just pipes into your MailChimp. MailChimp will actually sync with Facebook, and it can just always like have this real-time audience. So if you're cooking up campaigns and you want to target the people who leave you, who provide their email, then you can dial that right in. That's a pretty ninja easy way to go at this. So the other way is a manual upload. And so you would just have to do that every day. Or if you want to kind of stagger it, so you say like you upload these people who've just opted in the last 2 weeks, you want to retarget those people, then you could retarget those people. But yeah, that's a great question. Definitely you have to go to Facebook and Instagram to do that. So retargeting IQ will get you all the way there. It'll show you how to set up all of your campaigns, but the only thing that it won't show you how to do is just upload that CSV list. You could YouTube that, ping me. I could make a different video. Happy to do that. So why I say you do need to start on Facebook and Instagram is you can't retarget individuals on on the Google Ads platform until you've spent $50,000 on Google Ads. They don't allow the CSV upload. So there's a reason. And so I know how to do all of these things, and I know how to coach you and get you here, but literally why I start with retargeting IQ and why I start with Facebook and Instagram retargeting is those are the best spots to start. Those are the best spots to be because they're the most friendly. You can upload CSV lists, even if it's a list of like 50, 60 people, you can upload that to Facebook. And then what's awesome about this random Facebook user that I don't know, what you can do is then you can create a lookalike audience from this. So if you have like a good email list, you can create a lookalike audience from your emails. And that would be more top of funnel. So basically you're taking all of the emails that you've gathered who've been interested in your offer or your product. You have a separate retargeting campaign for those people. Obviously you use the logic to exclude buyers, because you don't want to retarget buyers unless you're trying to upsell them, which is another way to do that in Facebook. But what you'll do is you'll take that email list and then you'll pump it into a lookalike audience, and then you'll turn that lookalike audience as kind of a top of funnel audience to start leveraging. And so if you're new to ads, if you're not getting too many people into your funnel with ads, always start with tracking, always start with retargeting. And then if you're good, like with SEO, pump them in via SEO, but just retarget them. And then you'll have, options. Tofu, cookies, getting hungry watching this. I like that, John. I know. Lots of good stuff. So, okay. If that is, I got a call that I'm late for, and I apologize to Mitch because I told you I'd be there at 3, but we'll just bump the meeting back a little bit. So Mitch, I'm sorry. You're probably not watching, but I'll get to you. John, I really like your comment. About what can small businesses do now that will pay off? Like, what do we need to be doing now? So I'm going to try to follow up with a live either tomorrow or on Wednesday. Tuesdays are pretty busy with my coaching students, but Wednesday I do have some time. So I'll do that. And I think that's a really good topic to speak about. Random Facebook user, you bet. Let me know if you have any questions. Hop into my $27 workshop. If you don't, hit me up on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Ping me there. I'm happy to provide you with an answer. So, anyway, guys, I hope you are well. Hope this week treats you well. And thank you guys for chiming in. I do appreciate that. And I will talk at you. I don't know. Either talk with you or talk at you later. All right.